Hello, my name is Miriam. In this presentation, I will be mainly discussing the relationship of neurocognitive function and social anxiety disorder. Before I start talking about the neurocognitive domains, I would give a brief background about social anxiety disorder. So, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5, states that the essential feature of SAD, which is social anxiety disorder, is a marked or intense fear or anxiety of social situations in which the individual may be scrutinized by others. To give a diagnosis, patients must have a marked fear or anxiety about one or more social situations in which the individual is exposed to possible scrutiny by others. Examples include social interactions, being observed, and performing in front of others. The individuals with SAD fear that they will act in a way that will be negatively evaluated, and the social situations almost always provoke fear or anxiety, and they're avoided or endured with intense fear or anxiety. And their fear or anxiety is out of proportion to the actual threat posed by the social situation, and the symptoms, including fear, anxiety, or avoidance, should be persistent, typically lasting for 6 months or more. And there are some individuals with performance-only social anxiety, which is a specifier in the DSM-5. And those people do not fear or avoid non-performance social situations. Characteristics of SAD patients include an overly rigid posture, inadequate eye contact, or speaking with an overly soft voice. They tend to be shy or withdrawn, and they prefer to seek jobs that require no social contact. SAD men may be delayed in marrying, and women may live a life as a homemaker and a mother. Statistics show that SAD affects approximately 15 million American adults, and it is the second most common diagnosed anxiety disorder following specific phobia. 36% of people with social phobia or SAD report experiencing symptoms for 10 plus years before seeking professional help. There are many factors that could contribute to the development of SAD. The DSM-5 states that SAD sometimes emerges out of a childhood history of social inhibition or shyness. Onset may follow a stressful or humiliating experience, such as being bullied or rejected, vomiting during a public speech, or parents putting an emphasis on the opinions of others. Young adults express higher levels of social anxiety for specific situations. Onset in adulthood is relatively rare and could occur after a stressful event or life changes that require new social rules, such as marrying someone from a different social class. It also could concern embarrassment about one's appearance, such as tremors in Parkinson patients. Development in late adulthood may also concern functioning due to cognitive impairment, such as forgetting people's names. And possible neural causes of SAD include low dopamine level and reduced serotonin receptors. Previous research has found a significant role of the amygdala in the processing of threat-related stimuli, especially in the rapid detection of a threat and the initiation of defense behaviors. Researchers have found an involvement of other brain areas such as the insula and the medial prefrontal cortex. They also found a decreased response of the striatum during a cognitive task, which was proposed to be associated with avoidance behaviors and impaired motivation. Dysfunction in the striatum, especially in the ventral section, might impair successful coping with threats of potential negative evaluation. Several researchers focused on the functional neuroanatomy of anticipatory anxiety to specific threat stimuli. They reported an activation in the insula and the beta nucleus of the stereo terminals, or the external amygdala, which are associated with a sustained and unpredictable threat. Several studies reported that SAD patients experienced reduction in the mesolimbic system function, and the dysregulation of the mesolimbic pathway and its output neurons in the nucleus accumbens plays a significant role in the development and maintenance of an addiction. A study was conducted by Baim and his colleagues in 2014, examined brain activation in the amygdala, insula, medial prefrontal cortex, dorsal and ventral striatum during an anticipation of public and evaluated speaking versus a control condition in patients with SAD, and compared them with healthy controls using functional magnetic resonance imaging (fMRI). The researchers examined the magnitude of the experienced anticipatory anxiety and brain activation. Participants had several speeches and computer test blocks, and they were informed that their speeches will be recorded by a camera and that two experts will review the tape and would evaluate the word fluency and eloquence. Subjects' performance was analyzed by mean number of words produced during their speech. Their fMRI results show a significant activation in the amygdala in SAD patients at the beginning of the speech anticipatory phase. So the hyperactivation was restricted to the first part of the anticipatory phase. In addition to during stimulus presentation, amygdala activity has been associated with anticipation of aversive events in SAD patients as well as in healthy participants. Though the effects in SAD patients have been shown to be significantly greater than those shown by healthy controls. Their results also show a hyperactivation of the right insula in SAD patients during speech anticipation, and that may indicate an increased processing of negative bodily sensations even when a threatening event is merely anticipated. Given that it seems that anticipation of an anxiety-provoking event is accompanied by an attentional shift toward detailed monitoring of internal information like anxious feelings and physical fear responses. And such processes were proposed to lead a vicious circle of amplifying anxiety reactions and to contribute to the maintenance of social anxiety. They found that during speech anticipation, SAD patients compared to healthy controls showed a deactivation in the ventral striatum, and the deactivation was greater in patients who rated the speech anticipation more anxiety-inducing. Furthermore, the activation in this area was negatively associated with the perceived anticipatory anxiety in SAD patients, suggesting a link between incentive function, motivation, and anticipatory anxiety when SAD patients expect performance situations. This could be related to increased aversion of expected rejection or an increased fear of negative evaluation by others that is often accompanied by avoidance behaviors. Task performance analyses of produced number of words during the speech condition revealed that SAD patients spoke significantly fewer words than healthy controls. In conclusion, affected brain areas in SAD patients during an anxiety-provoking stimuli include the amygdala, which is associated with fear and controls the way we act during events that are seen as potentially threatening. Insula. Insula plays a role in cognition, self-awareness, and perception. Ventral striatum, and it functions as part of the reward system. Medial prefrontal cortex, or MPFC, and it's responsible on decision making and behavioral flexibility and a potential mediator of behavioral inhibition. Anxiety disorders in general are highly treated. SID can be treated by psychotherapy, pharmacotherapy, or both. Medications that has been effective in treating SID patients include selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, and benzodiazepines. But benzodiazepines can be harmful if used with alcohol.
Thank you for listening.